Greetings, family, and welcome to Motherland Media. This is Brother DJ along with Baba Hekima. Greetings, Baba Hekima. How you doing?
I'm doing great, brother.
Good, good. All right, we got another outstanding program lined up for you tonight. And again, greetings to those of you who are calling in on the conference call show side, and to those of you who will be listening in and who are listening in via the internet. Baba Hekima, do you want to give us a little bit of a background of what we're in store for tonight, what this call is designed to do, and what the format will be moving forward?
Well, yes, and thank you. Every Thursday evening, 9 o'clock Eastern, we want to have at least two of the board members of usliftingus on the call so that we can answer questions or concerns that people may have. We are advancing a bold economic plan, one that, if successful, and we think it will be successful, will change the economic landscape of black communities throughout this country and, in fact, throughout the world. What we're talking about, in essence, are large-scale, cooperatively owned, group-owned enterprises that can easily take us into an area of economic empowerment that we have never experienced in the West. And so we invite people to go to our website, usliftingus.com, and to review our presentation and to look on our website and see what's there. And we know that when people go there, they will naturally have questions. And we want to make ourselves available to answer those questions. And it's important, too, because what ULU is offering and is not, for some people it's new. We are normally taught the economic path for us is black ownership, black business ownership, and support of that ownership. And that's something we have done and we are currently doing and we must do more of. But what ULU is advancing is something a little different that would be added to the economic mix. We are purporting that we also consider joining together as persons and as institutions in a large-scale, cooperatively owned enterprise that would add additional muscle to what it is that we have to do so that we could, in fact, aggregate tens of millions, hundreds of millions, and more to dedicate to our empowerment. So what we envision would happen on this Thursday call, and it's happening, is that people from around the country and, in fact, around the world are chiming in to get a better idea of the mechanics of what it is that we're offering. So Brother DJ and I and some of the other board members dedicate ourselves to transparency, to frank talk, and to attack the hard questions to brothers and sisters around the world who, like us, are convinced that we must control the economics of our own community so that we can do what we normally think about in terms of economics, but so that we can also impact the political and cultural life of our community. So I guess in a nutshell, DJ, that's what I would say. And, of course, this evening we're looking forward and every week we have many new people who come onto the call and who respond. And I'm encouraged because there seems to be an awakening around the African world to the imperative of us controlling the economics of our community and us lifting us as an institution is the leader as it relates to cooperative economics, or what we call UJMA, cooperative economics, or large-scale, cooperatively owned, group-owned business enterprises.
Thank you, Baba Hekima. And so this conversation tonight, sisters and brothers, will be about just that. How do we begin the process of taking control of the economics of our community? And a part of this call is designed to acclimate prospective members to the ULU, or Us Lifting Us model, to explain to you what cooperative economics is in terms of the ULU brand of cooperative economics, and just how do we harness that more than $1 trillion that flows through our hands every year to really benefit us and our children and grandchildren, right? How do we do that? And so that's a part of what we're going to be talking about tonight. And so we're going to go into about a 14-minute presentation, audio presentation, that we encourage you to listen to. And for those of you who also have time in the days to come, we also ask that you go on our website, that's usliftingus.com, usliftingus.com, and listen to and also watch the presentation from our website, because it will give you further insight as to what ULU is about. But we're going to definitely play the audio portion of our presentation tonight for those of you who have not yet heard it, so you can simply follow along. If you have a pen and pad, definitely take notes. And then after the presentation is played, we will open up the line for a robust question and answer period. So at any time, if you have a question, you can simply call in to 646-716-5682. That's 646-716-5682. And for those of you who are already on the call-in side, if at any point you have a question or a comment to ask either myself or Baba Hekima, you would simply push 1 on your phone, and it will highlight your phone number, and we will open up your line and allow you to ask a question or whatever comment you may have. So again, for those of you who are listening in online, if at any point you have a question, you can simply call in at 646-716-5682. That's 646-716-5682. Baba Hekima, did you want to add anything to Baba Kimbizi's presentation or narration of the presentation thus far?
I would ask our listeners to consider our name, Us Lifting Us Economic Development Cooperative. Most of us are fairly familiar with cooperatives. There are, I think, 140 persons in the United States who belong to cooperatives. Most of them are credit unions, food co-ops, in the rural area, farmers co-ops or electrical co-ops. And so Us Lifting Us is an economic development cooperative. So we're not a food co-op. We're not a producer co-op. What we exist for, and our name really states it very well, is to serve as a cooperative in pooling our resources. On one of the videos on our website, Dr. King, in referring to the money that flows through our fingers, he says that's power if you know how to pool it. And so what Us Lifting Us Economic Development Cooperative is, in essence, is the blueprint for how we pool those resources that we can capture that normally flow through our hands and keep them under the control of a collective, a large collective, and dedicate those to our empowerment. So I just want to encourage us as we think about cooperatives. ULU chooses to be in service to all African people. A lot of the co-ops that we are familiar with, we have one here in Atlanta, fairly successful co-op that has over 3,000 members, but it's around food. And its mission is not empowerment. It's simply to provide a quality product for the community, healthy food, and it does that very well. But its mission is not the empowerment of the black community. The cooperative that we're speaking about tonight, it provides and will provide and sustain our community in the future from the standpoint of economic empowerment that supports all the other aspects of our community. So I just wanted to, highlight economic development cooperative.
Definitely, and thank you for that. Bobby Kima, also, would you really take the time to explain to us ULU as taking leadership in building this new black economy? Because that's one of the things that we really need to understand as a people, not just the pooling of our resources and directing those resources towards cooperatively owned or group-owned businesses, but also the aspect of ULU that is about the building of a new economy that we own and control. Can you speak to a little bit of that?
Yes. It's one thing to do business with a brother or sister in this economy, in an open economy where we really are not in control of the dynamics of the economic process. So we can build as many businesses as we choose to, and we can support them, and certainly that's a plus because we create some more jobs and create new businesses as well. But it's a different thing altogether to do business with a brother or sister within our own economy. Now, we did that at one point. When we referred to the Black Wall Streets, the hundreds of successful economic communities that we built around the country after emancipation, those were separate and distinct economic environments. And so it's altogether a different process and a different result or end when you, in fact, do business within your own economy. Now, we know that those successful businesses in the early 1900s, some of them were attacked physically, but that wasn't what stopped them because even Tulsa rebuilt. But what stopped them was mass manipulation at the behest of the banks and the Wall Streets and the other influences in the world to begin to manipulate us so that we abandon the patterns that we had established in doing for self and supporting each other that came out of our move from the plantation to a mutual economic structuring. And so what ULU is taking the lead in doing is bringing back patterns of economic behavior that, as it grows, it naturally matures into an economy. You normally refer to it as a secondary economy, an alternative economy, and those are the economies that we refer to when we talk about the Jewish community, the Korean community, the Latino community. When we see communities that are successful, they're not successful just because they do business with each other. They are successful because they do business based on their culture. And their culture creates a container within which they do business, and they share in other ways as well. Since some of that has been stripped away from us, and we've been engineered to perform or behave in a different way, then what ULU does is seek to recreate those patterns of mutual support and respect through having people become stakeholders and owners in the enterprise. So I submit to you that even myself, there are times when I probably should go way out of my way to do business with a brother or sister, but the timing, the inconvenience, and so I sometimes find myself spending money when I analyze it, I could have made the extra step. However, when that business is in fact mine, I'm an owner. My family is an owner. My church is an owner. My sorority is an owner. My group is an owner. Then you go the extra mile, the way the Koreans go the extra mile, the way the Jewish people go the extra mile, because it in fact belongs to me. Even though in their culture it may be individually owned, so one person may have their name tag out, there is still some cultural patterns, some built-in sanctions for correct or incorrect behavior that have been passed down from generations, so that it is natural for them in those alternative cultures to go beyond to go to whatever measures they need to, reasonable, to do business with each other. We are now re-engineering those patterns in ourselves, and we're using the fact that our structure allows for millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of our brothers and sisters, including our institutions, to be owners as a collective and add the additional incentive and benefit from doing what is necessary to support our business institutions. Those that ULU own and those that ULU have a transactional relationship with. And really, as we build this, we want to have a transactional relationship with as many businesses in the community as we can. And what I mean by transactional relationships is that there's an exchange between ULU businesses and other businesses in the community. In some cases, we collectively buy together, or we have a contract in terms of services or products. And so in that scenario, even the businesses that are not owned by ULU and organized as co-ops can still be in the community or in the circle of influence as we build that economy. And ULU, as far as I know, Brother DJ, is the only formation in the country that is stressing the need for large-scale, cooperatively owned or group-owned enterprises. We have people saying group economics, but they're not talking about group-owned economics. And that's a big difference, a humongous difference. And so that's the contribution that ULU is making to the discussion as it concerns black empowerment. But we're not only adding to the discussion, we're in fact building a platform, a structure, a mechanism by which we can actually build and materialize and sustain the new black economy.
Thank you for that. That's one of it's a very important point. Definitely a very important point. For those of you, again, on the internet side who would like to join in the discussion, you can give us a call at 646-716-5682. That's 646-716-5682. And for those of you who are already on the call-in side, if you have a question or a comment to join the discussion, simply push 1 on your phone, press 1 on your phone, and it will bring you in to the Q&A queue and we will open up your line for a question and or comment. This is Brother DJ along with Baba Hekima, founding board members with Uslifting Us Economic Development Cooperative. And I also want to make mention, Baba Hekima, that we have a major event coming up in 2 days on March 19th, Saturday, March 19th, here in Atlanta, called our Uslifting Us Economic Development Cooperative Ujima Power Summit. Ujima Power Summit that will take place this Saturday at 2 p.m. at the Shrine of the Black Madonna here in Atlanta. Event will start at 2 p.m. And possibly last until about 8 p.m. But we will engage in a lively panel discussion, starting off with a lively panel discussion centered around black business and black business ownership with some key figures here in the Atlanta community. We will have some entertainment as well for the brothers and sisters in attendance. We will have a lively with vendors, with products available for purchase to all of the attendees. And we will also be in a position to award our Uslifting Us Economic Development Cooperative member certificate to our members who have purchased at least one cooperative unit. We have a number of members who have already taken that next step and secured a stake in Uslifting Us, the company, by purchasing a cooperative unit. And so we will present the members who are there physically that have secured a unit. We will present them with their certificates for those who are there locally in attendance, and then we will also mail out to our members who are not here locally their certificates as well. And we will also have a keynote presentation for us to listen in and be informed by as well. Did you have anything to add in terms of announcements, any follow-ups to the summit, and also our members meeting? Definitely want you to make mention of that.
Yes, I guess 3 points. For ULU members, we will be assembling at 10 a.m. And we'll have brunch together, and we'll quickly get into the business. And we have some very, very important resolutions to pass and some committees to fill. We will also, during the afternoon program, the public portion of the day, we will have a special tribute to our sister Frances Cress Welsing. Memorial services will be going on commemoration services will be going on in D.C. for her, and we will join with that energy. I thought there was another thing, but at least those 2 things. I went blank on me. I thought it was 3. But certainly we want to lift up Sister Frances Cress Welsing.
Definitely, and I appreciate you adding that. And for those of you also may know or may have been informed that there will be a major commemoration in her honor in Washington, D.C. on Saturday, March 19th as well. And just like Baba Hekima said, we definitely will join with that energy in honoring the memory and legacy of our warrior Queen Mother. Anything else you wanted to add in terms of, I know what I wanted to ask you, Baba Hekima. What are some of the things that will be up for consideration during our members meeting, just to kind of give a sneak peek to those brothers and sisters who are interested in being a part of ULU and may just need some additional information and a little bit of insight in terms of, what takes place behind the scenes, so to speak?
Well, one very important thing will occur during our members meeting. We will be involved in rotation, a board rotation. ULU is a democratic process. There are no kings and queens. no czars, no bishops, and so the three most senior board members have to vacate their seats. Those members are willing to continue, but it's the will of the people. And so this year is the first year. This will be our third annual meeting, and starting the third year, 3 of the 9 board seats have to be vacated, and then people put back in them. And then the following year, another 3 seats. So this year is the first year of our board rotation. And we have to do this because we can't build what it is that we're talking about. And when we're no longer here, we haven't built the institution for perpetual existence. I guess the thought is that institution building is essentially what it is that we must focus on: economic institutions, social institutions. So the first rotation, and that's the most important thing. There will be other resolutions that speak to the possibility of us creating a demonstration project even before the marketplace, the usliftingus market and exchange gets off the ground. And so if members will approve that resolution, we'll have a demonstration project in place hopefully this year. And there are several member committees that are key to cementing and securing the interests of the members that have to be filled. And so we'll involve ourselves in that exercise. One of the things we cannot afford, and I think I've pretty much said it, is that we go through this energy and effort and a commitment and resource allocation, and we don't build it to last. Ulu, properly built, should last for many centuries, hopefully forever. But certainly our interest is to build something for our children and our grandchildren. I'm reminded the song that the Temptations sing, and it's a diabolical song. I don't like to hear it. Papa was a rolling stone. All that he ever left us was alone. It's crippling. It's crushing for an African adult to look in the face of an African child, and for both of them to know we really haven't built anything. We're, for the most part, naked, and we're at the mercy of any force on the planet that would choose to exploit us. That has to change. And so what we do on Saturday morning is cementing the institution, strengthening it, and making it such that it can survive myself, you, and all of the other board members who are in place now. And that's critical.
Definitely. So, sisters and brothers, the most senior 3 board members will actually step down from their positions and only be put in place or put back in place at the behest of the members. All of us who serve in board capacity are just that, in those positions to serve. And as we say all the time, those positions are not the positions that you get comfortable in because they can change every 3 years. And so you want to come into those roles of service doing the work on behalf of the people of Ulu in order to shape this cooperative to be a true reflection of what we need as a people. You know, Baba Hakima, I oftentimes think about the writings of Dr. Amos Wilson, where he told us that if we did not begin a process, a serious process of taking control of the economics of our community, everything that we would engage in would be suspect. He spoke at length in many of his writings about the nature of male-female relationships and the nature of black relationships in general, that are fraught with problems, mainly because of the economic vulnerability that we face in this country, and that he said to us years ago that this is way too vulnerable of a position for our people to be in generation after generation after generation, and that something would have to give. And so for those of you who keep up with partisan politics, I don't have to tell you that with the evolution and the ascendance of Donald Trump, what this means for people of African descent in this country, if this man should become president of this country, what would that mean? And so, brothers and sisters, Baba Hekima and myself are here to really let you know the imperative of now, how time is of the essence for us to build, because we don't really have much time to spend debating about things that we've done in the past that have not worked, and really trying to push forward failed attempts at economic liberation that were based off of failed models in the past, right? So we have many people who have the skill set of personal finance. They teach us and instruct us on how to be better stewards of the money that we make, the money that comes into our hands on a weekly or monthly basis, how to set a budget, how to live within our means. We also have people that instruct and teach us how to engage in business, in proper black business, patronizing those businesses that do good work and offer great services and great products in our community. But in addition to that, what Baba Hekima has stated so articulately is that we're in addition to those two things, we are also advancing the notion of cooperative, large-scale, group-owned enterprises that hundreds of thousands and millions of people can own collectively and benefit from collectively as well, providing that social safety net and anchoring our community in their economic reality. That is extremely important. Our communities have to be anchored by large-scale cooperatively owned enterprise for many of the reasons that Baba Hekima stated. Because if you own it, you will support it. You have a vested interest in seeing it and making it successful. And that's what we have to really understand and be about the business of building that world-class infrastructure. Anything else, Brother Hakeem?
Yeah, I would just encourage our listeners to think, I guess you would say, think out of the box. And let me ask this, set this scenario up. Think of what it would mean for 100,000 of us to pool $1,000 each. That's $100 million. Now, what would we do with it? Because if we don't understand what we would do with it, we're not going to aggregate it. What we would do with it is, based on the ULU model, is we would invest it. Would we invest it in Wall Street? No. Would we invest it, wherever? We would invest it in ourselves through the opening and running of for-profit business enterprises structured as cooperatives, but they are for-profit. And they compete just as any business would in the environment, very competitively. But we wouldn't take $100 million and give loans to DJ or to Hakeem or to whoever and then get an interest. That's a bank. And we'll own banks as well, and we'll do that from our financial institutions. But what we will do is own the businesses that we invest in collectively. And those businesses would not only be the marketplace, but would be businesses in transportation, hospitality, in entertainment, in energy, almost every area that you would think of. And so I asked you a week or so ago, a couple of weeks, I was fumbling with a question, basically asking the question, would you consider participating with others in directing $100 million in seed money to empower African people? And, of course, most people would say yes. But that's the proposition that we're putting before you, because a church can be a member of ULU and have 100 units or 1,000 units. An association, National Association of Black Psychologists or whatever else, as long as it's a legal entity, can be a member of ULU and have multiple units, but they'll only have one vote. And so to aggregate the money is probably automatic as we build a platform, because the money is there. When we look at the amount of money that black churches have deposited in white institutions, we know we have the money, not only churches, but in institutions. So when we are clear in terms of what we do with the money that we aggregate, we put black experts to work. We hire the best minds, and we put them to work building businesses that create tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of jobs, but also stimulate the local economy and bring that money back into the community through charity, but also a dividend or a direct return to our members. And we just do that over and over and over again, and build and build and build till we reach that tipping point. And that tipping point is where we know, our children know, and everybody else in the world knows that when they refer to that territory that we generally call the black community, that's ours. We got that. We're not saying that we're going to have 100% control. We're probably not going to control the electrical power, the grid. We're not going to deal with the water. But one of the things we don't often think about, and I think Dr. Amos Wilson and others remind us of it, is that the African in America, unlike many of our brothers in other parts of the world, we have these amenities, the highways, the airways, communications, fresh water, all these things that our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean, Central and South America, and in some places in Africa would long for to aid them in their development. We can be the catalyst and the engine for global development of black people. So, I didn't mean to go there, but
no, it's important.
Yeah. So, so when we say pool resources, we don't mean pool resources to invest in Wall Street. That's critical. We do want to invest, but what we want to invest in are jobs for our people, a place for our people to do business and commerce, a place that turns a profit and then gives to the charity and endowment. In Atlanta, we have a university that's been failing for a good many years, Morris Brown College. We could support that college and use the example that Coca-Cola and Georgia Pacific and all the other corporations in Atlanta use to support Emory. Emory has an endowment of billions of dollars because those successful businesses have that university as part of their portfolio in terms of endowment. Our successful businesses will generate successes in politics and successes in the culture and sustaining our institutions. We've got to do this. If we don't do it, I say, I'll take this on my own. I wouldn't put this on the board. if we don't do this, then leave the planet. Because we're just taking up space. That may be unfair to say, but in the real world, there are winners and losers, and none in between. And we've been on the wrong side too long. And it's not rocket science. We simply must develop a process, a mechanism by which we pool our considerable resources to empower us. And you know, and the opposition, I say, 95% of the opposition is in our heads. It's not in the real world. I'm through ranting and raving.
No, you good. You know, we need to hear that, and I appreciate you adding that perspective, because again, it's something that we need to hear. Because we have a tendency sometimes to be lulled back to sleep, by this system. And because we have the basic things oftentimes provided for by another people, it's easy to be lulled back to sleep. But sometimes we gotta be snatched out of that comfort zone, and forced to recognize how vulnerable of a position we're actually in.
Yeah.
Brother DJ, and just like you said, yes, sir.
Let's ask before we end the call to see if there's anyone who would want to press 1 on their phones and have their lines open to ask a question or have a comment.
Yeah, definitely. And again, for those of you who may have a question, go ahead and press 1 on your phone. And for those of you who are listening in over the internet, if you have a question, go ahead and call 646-716-5682. That's 646-716-5682. And again, press 1 on your phone, and we'll open up your line for a question or comment. We do have someone with a question. The last 4 is 1249. 1249. Please state your name and where you're calling from. Your line is open.
Hey, good evening, brothers. Greetings. This is Brother Eric from West Point.
Greetings, brother.
Hey. Yeah, I just have a couple. I have 1 comment and 2 questions, and just to comment, as far as the reference to Morris Brown, just want to give kudos to them. They did finally get out of their bankruptcy. I read here a couple of months ago, so they're making some progress.
Beautiful.
And the questions are 2, and they're pertaining to who can come into ULU, and of course, now I've been listening to these calls the whole time I've been a member, and of course, and I pretty much got it down. But I know on a couple of occasions, Baba Keem and Brother DJ, you all reiterate that this is a closed investment environment, and of course, and it's pretty much just for Black or African people, and which is great. But the question, the 2 questions that I have pertaining to that specific point, what about other people of color? Are they open to being members of ULU? And number 2, when you mentioned the different entities like a couple, a business, or an individual, along that same point of keeping out white folks, what if they were to come? What if someone were to come in as a business? And of course, a lot of these businesses can be front folks. What type of screening or vetting process do you all utilize to ensure that infiltration doesn't happen that way?
Great question, brother. Definitely great question. You want to take that, and I can follow up, Baba Hakeem?
Okay. Well, our application asks a member to confirm that they are of Black African descent. And before we approve them and add them to the turtle list, we interview them. And usually they are recommended by someone who's already a member or they reference a video that they watch, but we talk with them long enough to get a feel for where they're coming from. And if we feel good about it, we go ahead and approve them. But they have signed on a dotted line that they are qualified to be a member. And if we should find out differently later, then they committed fraud. In other words, they came in fraudulently, and we can simply reverse that. Now, membership is open to individuals, couples, and institutions. As long as you're a legal entity, for tax purposes, you can be a member. And we have several ULU members who are businesses or associations. Some of them have good many members in their association. But ultimately, we know that through hook or crook, they're going to end up being persons who may not qualify for membership being involved. Hopefully not many. But there's another provision when units are transferred. Let's say, for instance, if a member passes away, transition, dies, and they have listed a beneficiary. If that beneficiary cannot qualify for ULU membership, we liquidate it and give that money, give that equity in cash to that person, but not include them going forward. But even at that, you know that eventually they're going to be in the mix somewhere. But again, the intent is to build an apparatus for our people, and nobody else in the world is criticized for that, and nobody else in the world feels shame for that. Sometimes we do because we've been grafted that way. But if it should happen, it's no skin off of our back, so to speak, because it's going to be so minimal as it's not going to really be a concern. And the reason for that is that in ULU, power is invested in memberships, and you can only have one membership. Now, if we were a corporation where voting was based on stocks, then you could have individuals come in and with their money garner a powerful position. So a person in ULU, if they own 100,000 units, they still only have one vote. So that protects us in the end. Thank you for the question.
Yes. And so are other minorities, so no other minorities, just strictly us lifting us is for blacks and Africans. So no.
Yeah, it's in the language on the application. Okay. I'm not sure the exact language, but it essentially says that ULU membership is reserved for persons of black African descent, not just African descent, black African descent, as we are the persons and class in need of redemption and repair. So that is the group and the class for which ULU is being built for.
Okay, thanks.
Did you have a follow-up question, brother, or are you good?
Oh, no, I'm good. I'm
all right.
Waiting on that. If you want to add something to it, you can go ahead. Yeah, I'm done. Thanks a lot.
I appreciate it, brother. No, Baba Hekima did a great job of covering all of the pertinent points, and so I don't have anything to add to that. Great job. But I do want to go ahead and extend an opportunity for someone else who may have a question or a comment to go ahead and press 1 on your phone before we end the conversation tonight. Just want to give, again, an opportunity for someone else who may have a question or a comment about the presentation or even about the dialogue that you've listened to tonight. press 1 on your phone, and we'll see your highlighted number, and we'll open up your line for a question or a comment. If no one else has a question or a comment, Brother Hakima, you can certainly go ahead and give us some closing words. And if anyone jumps on the Q&A side, I'll definitely open up their line before we sign off tonight.
And just to kind of follow up to Brother Eric's question, we number over 1 billion people on the planet, so we certainly have included enough people to reach out to. And ULU is global. We have members now in the U.S., Canada, the U.K., Bermuda, and Haiti. I spoke with a brother this evening who lives in Atlanta, but he's from Colombia. He's excited about ULU and talks about the structures that already exist in Colombia, South America, that he thinks would be favorable to this discussion. So we look to have many members in the world. I want to encourage everyone on the line to be sober about what it is that you've listened to. Go back to our website and review it thoroughly. When you go through our online presentation, and from our homepage, there are 3 videos. The top video, when you click it, it starts talking to you. And it takes you through a video, and at any point you can click a link right underneath it to fill out a form to receive additional information. You will instantly receive our 22-page operating agreement, our 4-page values and ethics document, be instructed how to look at the current members list. What we want to do, and we think we need to do, and it's in our interest, to put all of the pertinent information in your hands so that you can make an informed decision. We do not want you becoming an ULU member if you are not fairly clear about what it is that we're building. You may be a bigger hindrance than you would be a help. So avail yourself of that information. If you are already decided now that you do want to become a member, to apply for membership, from our homepage, click Join, fill out that form and submit it, and then click Pay/Donate, and then pay your first year's membership, which is just $50, and you can pay it online, but there are also instructions for you to mail it in if you choose to use, to pay it otherwise. And when you do that and you're approved, you're a full partner with everyone else in ULU. You're not a junior partner. You're a full partner. We don't have, senior and junior partners in the enterprise. Everybody is fully empowered to join with us and help build and mold and shape this process. We're in stage 1. We're still in the building phase and the foundation laying phase. And so it's critical that we have good brothers and sisters who are quality thinkers, have a mind for engineering, because that's what we're doing. We're engineering a mechanism that would give us power in the world. And so if you decide to become a member, you can do it right from our website. And again, invite people that you know to come onto this call next week, or just to listen from our website. And those persons can be anywhere in the world. And this call is archived. So tomorrow you can listen to the call. You can share it with a family member or friend. And our web address, again, is usliftingus.com. Our email address is info@usliftingus.com. Our phone number is 404-592-2780. I'll repeat that, 404-592-2780. And we do call you right back. It's a service, but we love to talk with you because it keeps us on our toes, and it gives us a good feel for what's happening around the country and around the world. And DJ, of course, we don't want to forget that this Saturday at 2 o'clock at the Shrines of the Black Madonna in the West End in Atlanta. I think the address is 946 Ralph David Abernathy. From 2 to 8, we want to encourage everyone who can to be in place. We know we have members from Denver, from Texas, from Virginia, and I'm not sure where, I think maybe from Florida, coming in. In past members meeting, we've had them come from Bermuda. We've had people to fly in from Japan. So we're not sure who's coming. But, we have members in the 5 countries that we talked about, but we have U.S.-based members who are all scattered in other places as well. So we look forward to a lively, energetic, and loving time with our member base this weekend and with the public as well.
Thank you, Brother Hekima. And also I would quickly add, for those of you who may have product that you would like to vend during this event on Saturday, March 19th, you can email us at info@usliftingus.com. That's info@usliftingus.com, and simply say that you're interested in vending opportunity and provide your contact information, and someone will follow up with you very, very quickly. We do have a couple vending spots left, so again, if you have product that you would like to bring out to the community and share with us during the marketplace, again, email us at info@usliftingus.com, and someone will reach out to you very, very quickly and get you signed up. All right? That's all we have. We'll be back on again next week, sisters and brothers. Same time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, for our Us Lifting Us Economic Development Cooperative presentation. Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you again next week. Peace.